Morris Morning Tea.
Live
and
special,
Matthew Kahn as well.
Waterloo
Thank you for
15-year
joining us
anniversary.
here. Hattie,
Soap
let's
special.
start with you.
Interview,
I think a lot of young
UK
people
25.
watching this will be really interested in that storyline. I think perhaps just sort of take us through, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah,
Time's down
it was
there.
really tough to film actually, you know, going to those
10:51
dark
a.m. in the morning.
places every day, but it's so rewarding to watch back now and
The 19th of February
realise
today.
what we created.
Wednesday morning,
and
guys,
I really
20 to
hope
5.
people watch it and, you know, maybe spot signs in their own relationships or in friends and family, and you know, I think it's really important that we raise awareness for this topic.
Because we've talked on this programme about coercive control, but often between older partners, not necessarily among teenagers, young people.
Yeah, I think it's really important that Waterloo Road highlight that this can happen to teenagers, and teenage relationships can become dangerous really quickly, and we have to spot the signs and stop it.
Yeah, so just give us a little bit of an explanation of what, obviously not giving any major plot points away, but perhaps just tell us about your character and the relationship.
In terms of Jared?
Yeah.
So I mean, in season 14, so that was the one before this one, he kind of comes in and he's very charming, he's a go-getter, he doesn't really take no for an answer, he's like the new golden boy of Waterloo, and gets a girlfriend by the end of the day, I think in one of the episodes, straight off the bat. And then in this season we start to see sort of like the darker side to those attributes that he has in terms of like not taking no for an answer. And then Jared's subtle with the manipulation that he does. So like Neil's character doesn't spot it straight away or argues against other people saying that there are signs. So if people on the outside within those circles can't even see those signs, then it becomes like increasingly difficult for the person even in that relationship to be able to spot what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that when he first arrived, as you say, he was the charming character everybody loved, which makes what's going on in reality even more sinister, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, it was really tricky playing him and trying to understand like his motives and his psychology and yeah, because it is sinister, like it's vile what he's doing. A lot of the research that we did was that he believes his actions are justified through, you know, the media that he consumes, role models that he sees on YouTube or something. So it's like looking into, okay, well, how are these young boys, they're not born like this, I don't believe anyway. How are they becoming sort of indoctrinated into these violent patterns and behaviours?
And it's interesting, your relationship as well, isn't it? In terms of seeing it from the parental perspective, trying to work out what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, what Matthew's just said there, but what people have to understand is that coercive control, people who do that, they don't just groom the victim, they groom the families. It's much more of a show for everyone. So that, and it happens in the show, when people start red flagging Jared, to my character Neil Guthrie, he's like, no, because he's a charmer. He's charmed his way through the whole family. And that's how coercive control works. They do it to everyone to make sure that when these red flags are raised, that they're not believed, because he couldn't possibly be that kind of person. And my character in the show has just got his daughters back. They've been living in New Zealand. So I'm trying to navigate teenage daughters as a single parent. And that's bad enough without them this coming along. And Neil doesn't see it. And again, I think a lot of people would go, well, how could you not know? The manipulation is so deeply rooted that everyone gets carried along with it.
And even when there's not manipulation going on and there's nothing sinister, for any parents with teenagers, it's that complicated navigating, as you say, about how involved you want to get, can get, should get.
Leave me alone, Dad, it's my life.
Yeah.
So you've got that to contend with. He doesn't want to upset her. He doesn't want to, because Neil Guthrie upsetting his daughter might mean she goes back to New Zealand. It's not just she might go and stay with her mum's or whatever. So he's got that to balance. He's got his own storylines as well going through with his partner in the show. So it's such a tricky thing, but I think it's really interesting to highlight just how manipulative these things and how long. And I think the story does it brilliantly. It's so cleverly woven into this that it sort of it fools everyone.
Yeah, takes us all by surprise.
It takes us all by surprise.
Yeah.
I think that's it's testament to the research that writers did as well.
We're talking about the 40th anniversary of EastEnders today, and in the way that it has tackled lots of big issues, Waterloo Road has in its many series as well. I just wonder what how does it feel as an actor to be involved in one of these storylines when you know that actually you're presenting something that people know about, might not know what to do with, and perhaps you might be able to help them in some way?
Yeah, I really hope people watch it and, you know, take action for themselves and their friends. And, you know, I've learned so much about domestic abuse and coercive control through doing the storyline. So I hope everyone can, you know, take something from it and we raise awareness.
And does it mean as cast members, when, you know, on breaks between shooting, has it made you all talk and think about your own lives, your own friendships away from the set, about what you see and notice in reality?
Yeah, definitely. There's so many layers to coercive control, and sometimes you can look at something and think it's black and white, but really there's a lot more going on than you realise. So I think it's really important we start this conversation about the topic.
And it's important that you said at the start that you wouldn't associate this kind of thing happening with younger generation, but of course it does, and even more so now because of social media and the pressures that are put on. But that's what I think the show does really well. Waterloo Road is it. From my point of view, generationally, it's opened my eyes to the fact that these things happen to kids. They happen to not just coercive control, but bullying and food issues and bulimia and anorexia. All these things are happening at a much younger age than my generation thought would.
Yeah, something we've seen as well is that from chatting to different charities, particularly for like young kids, the terminology will change from like domestic abuse, coercive control to that relationship's a bit toxic, and it kind of diminishes the how negative and how potentially violent the behaviours are that they're doing, and also again seeing the reactions that people have had, sort of highlighting that sometimes the person that appears to be like the nicest person, the most charming, can have something
sinister
to their motives, like in terms of what they're doing.
Thank you all so much for coming in. It's such an important issue, and well done with your work on the series. And the whole series, I think, of Waterloo Road is now on iPlayer to watch.
There you go, guys.
Thank you.
Time now.
Please subscribe to my channel and sign gems. Thanks for watching this video. This is my friend Sparky and Jim every Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. ITF Friday things, Surrey Hill Road Show Friday. And it's my friend Shane, live with the users in the Lou every Friday at 10 and 12 p.m. Surrey Hill Road Show every Friday. And this is my friend John, the Lara Show every Sunday at 9 to 12 p.m. live on the Woken Show, Lara Show every Sunday at 9 to 12 p.m. Please subscribe and sign gems.